Hey folks, welcome to the BDotnet webinars. Today's session, as you all know, is Introduction to the Speech API in Windows Phone 8. This is a level 100 session and will include good number of demos on the Speech API in Windows Phone 8. This webinar series is organized by Bangalore.net user group, which is one of the active .NET user groups in Bangalore. BDotnet conducts lots of online and offline activities helping out the community members. As a part of the BDotnet webinars, we'll have series of webinars on the various technologies in the coming weeks. So let's get started with the speech API in Windows Phone 8. About me, I am Senthil Kumar. I work for a company called Trivium eSolutions Bangalore. I am a BDotneter and a regular member of the Bangalore.net user group. I am a Windows Phone enthusiast or a kind of Windows Phone fanboy. I share some of my Windows Phone and mobile development findings in my blog mobileosgeek.com. You can connect me via Twitter handle @isenthil. The agenda for today's session is pretty simple and straightforward. We'll start with the introduction of the speech in Windows Phone 8 and then explore various components of the speech in Windows Phone 8 like voice commands, speech recognition, text to speech, grammars and languages, as well as voice, and some cool demos on how to use them in your Windows Phone 8 app. So first thing is smartphone and speech, touch versus speech. One of the quickest way for the user to do some task in smartphone is using speech. The traditional way of interacting with the app on smartphone using touch still holds good and still is preferred option by most of the people. But how about using speech or voice to interact with the app on your Windows Phone 8? So what are the advantages that you see by using speech rather than a text? For example, how about making a phone call by just saying call Senthil Kumar? This will pick up the person's phone number from the phone book and simply make a call. How about emailing a long text to your friend quickly by your voice? The Windows Phone 8 provides users with the option to interact with your app using speech. The speech features in Windows Phone 8 not only lets the users to do the task quickly but also improves the overall experience with the phone. So let's go ahead and see some demo of the built-in voice command in your Windows Phone 8. I'll be using the Windows Phone emulator for a demo. So now let's look into the default speech features that are built into the Windows Phone device via the emulator. To start the speech in Windows Phone 8, all that you have to do is tap and hold the start button for few seconds. The start button that you see here. The speech recognition service has to be enabled on your phone for the speech to work within your app. You'll be prompted to enable this when you first start the speech. Let's start the voice here by hitting the or tapping the start button for few seconds, and let us speak few text saying note good morning and see what is the outcome of it. Note good morning. If you noticed, the text good morning has been saved into OneNote. The text note is nothing but the name of the app or the alias name for the OneNote, and good morning was a text which I need to be captured in the OneNote. Similarly, you can also open another application by simply saying open and then the application name. Let's see how to open the Internet Explorer, for example. Open Internet Explorer.
Starting Internet Explorer.
So now you saw the Internet Explorer being opened by just a voice. Then we have the what can I say screen within the voice. To start that, hit the L button on the top right corner. This includes three different pivot pages: common, apps, and more. The common page includes the most commonly used speech commands to be recognized by your Windows Phone. You can ask the Windows Phone to read by clicking the read button in the bottom right of your screen, the one that you see here. The app page contains the list of apps that supports speech. For example, there is an app called Demo 1, and the app Demo 1 contains the command. So let me tap the Demo 1 app. So this has the list of commands that can be used. For example, the command here is BDotnet show me the list of events is one of the command. The more pages contains more things that you can do. So without wasting much time, let me hit the read it button.
More things you can do. During a call, you can start speech and use the following commands: call to call another person, or press to press a number. Common, try saying, call Chris Mobile. Find coffee in Seattle. Open calendar. Text Brandy. Note, send birthday card. Apps. Some apps support voice commands.
Okay, let me stop this demo and then move back to the slide. So next we have the speech components in Windows Phone 8. There are basically three important components of speech that one can use in the Windows Phone app. The first important component that we're going to see is the voice command by itself. The voice command can be used by the user to automatically start the app and access some of the functionalities by speaking commands which are already predefined. For example, call Senthil Kumar, which displays the dialer for making phone calls or something like that. And then we have search BDotnet UG mates. The commands can also be deep linked within your app. For example, you can allow the user to say something like search Windows Phone events in India, and then set up your app to identify the spoken sentence and then map it to a page in your app to display them. We'll see this in one of the demo app that we're going to build during the session. The next important component for the speech recognition the next important speech component is the speech recognition. How about giving an input to a field in the page by using voice or speech? The speech API in Windows Phone 8 provides an option for the user to do this easily. In other terms, the speech recognition is also called as speech to text. You'll be using your voice as input for the application. The Windows Phone 8 supports predefined grammars for free dictation, and you could also build your custom grammars by passing an array of strings, or you can also use SRGS, that's speech recognition grammar specification, which is an XML based input for the speech recognition. The third component that we're going to look is the text to speech. Not just the speech to text, you can also use text to speech feature as well. This is also known as speech synthesis in other terms. Just provide a simple text in your app to the API and the system will speak the text to the user via the phone's speaker. You can also use the XML based structure for the inputs, which is also called as SSML, that's a speech synthesis markup language. Next we have the capabilities in app manifest file. To use voice commands in your app, it is necessary that you set the below capabilities in your app manifest file. Like speech recognition, microphone, networking, all this has to be enabled in the app manifest file. If these capabilities are not enabled, then your app might not work like the way you want it to work when you're using the speech API. The capabilities are something that a user is notified of the functionality when your app is installed or when the app is being used by the user. Also, setting this capability within your Windows Phone project is very simple and straightforward. Just open the app manifest file, which is an XML file, which will open up a designer something similar to the one that you see in the screenshot here. Then make sure that you check all these capabilities in the list box out here. So the voice command in your app. The voice commands can be used by the user to start the app and access the functionalities or perform action quickly using speech. For example, assume that the Windows Phone 8 app that we are going to build is a Bangalore .NET user group app. The user could simply say uh, a BDotnet app, please show me the upcoming UG meets. This could display the list of upcoming user group meetings in one of the page of your app. Similarly, one could perform various other actions using a voice command. Uh, okay, so the three-step process for adding voice command to your Windows Phone project involves creating the VCD file and then initializing the VCD file and then handling the navigation of how you're going to execute the commands. So the first step of creating the VCD file, the VCD file is a simple XML file. This contains all the commands and other information that your app can recognize when a voice command is triggered. The Windows Phone 8 SDK and Visual Studio 2012 provides you with a template to create the VCD file quickly, like the one that you see in the screenshot here. So the next step is to initialize the VCD file. The Windows Phone should be able to understand the commands and hence the VCD file has to be initialized. This is required only when the initialization is required only when you initialize the app for the first time or when you're running the app for the first time. The initialization step is also pretty simple and straightforward and can be done with just few lines of code, and most preferred way of doing this is using the application launching event. The last step of this process is to handle the navigation, which requires the identification of the command and perform the action accordingly. So let me move to the next slide for the VCD format. So this is the VCD file format that you generally see when you create them. Note that it is a simple XML format and includes some mandatory tags to be provided. The first tag is the voice command that you see. The voice commands, this is the root or the top level element for all the voice commands that your app supports. Command set on the other hand contains all the necessary uh, just let me bring the highlighter so you'll be able to. Next we have the command set. A command set contains the necessary voice commands of the given culture. For example, we saw here as ENUS. That's one of the cultures. If you want to target multiple cultures or languages with the same set of voice commands, then you might need to create another copy of the command set and defining the language for it. The next tag is the command prefix. The command prefix is like an alias name for the Windows Phone to recognize the commands in your Windows Phone app. If you feel that if your app name is too difficult to pronounce or if it includes some kind of numeric digits within it, then you can use this to quickly identify your app using voice. Next we have the listen for. That's the next important command or a tag. This is the text for which the speech recognizer should listen when matching the user spoken commands. You can have up to 10 listen for tag within each command. And then we have phrase list. The listen for element also includes a phrase list. This can be a potential word within a phrase. For example, uh, I have a listen for text, show me events in, and month views is nothing but a phrase list. I can say show me events in May. Then I can say show me events in June. Similarly, I can specify show me events in whatever the data that is available in the phrase list. The other important tag is the feedback. This tag denotes what the system should say back to the user when the command is recognized. For example, when I speak show BDotnet, show me events in May, then immediately when the command is recognized, I receive a feedback from the Windows Phone saying showing the events in May. So the another tag that you see is a navigate tag. This is nothing but the screen with which should be invoked when the specified command is recognized. If the page is not specified, it always navigates to the initial or the startup page of your app. So then we have the initialization of the VCD file. As I explained earlier, the VCD file needs to be initialized when the application starts for the first time. We can use the application launching event for simplicity, for example, to initialize the VCD file. To initialize the VCD file, you need to use the voice command service dot install command sets from file async method, and then specify the voice command definition file that needs to be initialized. And it is also necessary that it has to be a async call with await as a keyword. So next step, the final step of this process would be to handle the command and the action. When an app is opened via the voice command, the URL will look something like this, where in the previous example where I haven't specified the navigate URL, so this refers to the main page, that's the start page of the app. Then when I said BDotnet show me the events in May, the command was recognized, and hence the parameter contains something like this: the voice command name, and the command name is nothing but the events filter that can be seen here. Then the recorded text is also shown, which says BDotnet space show me the events in May, and the respective phrase list is also identified. The developer can use the navigation context.query string to get the parameter and identify the command to perform the action accordingly. So let's move into the so next let's look into the voice command demo. Let me discard this and move on to the demo one. Okay, for the first step, since we wanted the speech to be integrated into our Windows Phone app, we should make sure that the capabilities are set. So double click on the wm app manifest.xml file, navigate to the capabilities section, and then check these options: microphone, networking, and then speech recognition, and make sure you save the changes. The next step would be to create the voice command definition file. To create that, right click on the demo one project, navigate to add new item, then select the voice command definition and hit add. So by default, the Windows Phone SDK or Visual Studio 2012 adds a sample or example voice command tags. which is for a Contoso radio rodeo game. So we'll remove this item and include the voice command tags that we saw in one of the screenshots in the slide. So the next step would be to initialize the VCD file that we created right now. So to do that, we'll navigate to the app.xaml file. We already see that in the application launching event we have another voice command definition file been initialized. We'll modify this to initialize the newly added voice command definition file. That's voice command definition 1.xml. So the next step would be to identify and detect the commands for the speech. So before implementing this, let me quickly run through the app that we have now, that we have built until now. So build is started. It's deploying to the Windows Phone emulator now. Okay, so the sample app that we're going to build is a Bangalore .NET app, which will list out all the upcoming user group meets. Currently you see 4 user group meetings being planned. One is BDotnet Windows Phone webinar, SQL Bangalore UG Meet, PowerShell UG Meet, and then BDotnet's Relive Decade UG Meet. And these are conducted in various months, say May or June, for example. So now, how about integrating the speech to this app to shortlist or filter the UG meets by month? So let's do that. Let's stop the app. Let's go here. LLS here is nothing but a list box. It has been named like this, but don't worry about that for now. And we are currently binding the complete list to the list box or a long list selector. So now the first step would be to identify if the voice command name exists within the URI. If you want to display the complete URI, all that you can do is you can say there's a navigation event argument dot say URI dot toString, which will show the complete URI that you saw here, something like this. So let's not go into that. So now let's try to identify the command name from the navigation context query string. So I use query string dot contains key, and then I use voice command name. Okay, if the input was via voice, then I'm gonna perform the action accordingly. If it is not, then I'm gonna display the complete set of user group meetings that are gonna happen in the upcoming months. So now let me identify the command name. Command name equal to, I'm gonna use the same navigation context dot query string. Now I'm gonna use the parameter voice command name, sorry, so now I've got the command name that was used. Now your app might contain many such commands, but the user can speak only one command at a time. But you can always do the logic such a way that if you identify a command name, for example in our case we have only one command name as events filter, so we have no other go to pick that. We can say if the command name is events filter, then do the action accordingly. In our case it's nothing but filtering the list of the user group meetings that are gonna be held in the specified month. And now I need to also identify the phrase list that the user has spoke. For example, if the user has said, show me the list of the events in May, I need to identify the month May as well. So I say month equal to navigation context dot query string, and then I need to use the parameter that is used here, the phrase list label. So now this will provide me with the month. So now I need to filter the list. Data equal to ugmeets dot where a dot month equal to month dot to list, and then let me bind it to the long list selector. So now let me run the app. So this is the default behavior. If the app is directly launched from the app list or from the start screen, you see this. Now let me hit back button, and then let me start the speech and start specifying the command. BDotnet, show me events in May.
Showing the events in May.
You saw that the list of UG meets have been shortlisted based on the phrase that I dictated. Let me give another try by saying show me the events in June. BDotnet, show me the events in June.
Showing the events in June.
Simple. So in June there is a PowerShell UG meet happening. So that's what the BDotnet app says. So let's switch over to the slide. So next component we have is the speech recognition. As I explained earlier, the speech recognition or speech to text can be used to provide inputs to the fields, for example using your voice or speech. Again, including speech to text in your app is a very simple and straightforward method and can be done with just few lines of code. You need to use the speech recognizer UI and speech recognizer UI result to implement the speech recognition. You can also use the predefined grammars for free dictation. One of the advantages of the predefined dictation grammar is when the user is speaking a very short or a small phrase. The other option is to create a custom grammar which only your app can recognize. All that you need to do is just build a list of string or a list of a grammar and then pass it to the speech recognizer UI, and that will take care of the rest. The third option of is to use XML grammar, which is nothing but the SRGS, that's the speech recognition grammar specification, which can be used for the speech recognition. It is also possible for your app to change the language for speech recognizer from the supported speech cultures in your app. So let's get into some demo now for the speech recognition. So I'm going to use the same app now. I've added a new page, page1.xaml. Let me change the start page of the application to point to page1.xaml. So in the page1.xaml, all that I have is a simple button. So we are going to implement the speech recognition feature on click of a button, for example in this demo. So let's start creating the object. The first step would be to initialize or instantiate the speech recognizer UI object. So let me create that speech recognizer as UI speech equal to new speech recognizer UI, and then I can say await speech dot recognizer with async. So now I need the result. The phrase that I'm gonna speak should be captured by the application as a text. For example, I have a text box in my application, in my Windows Phone page. I'll speak a text, and the text box will be populated with that phrase. So to do something like this, we need the result from the speech recognizer. So which is nothing but using the speech recognition UI result, which will contain the result that the user has spoken. So now I use a message box for example here to display what was spoken by the user. So now we are all set to launch the app. Let me launch the app on the emulator, and let me hit the speak button and start speaking a short phrase. Good afternoon.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Okay, let me rebuild the app again. And let me start it. Still deploying. Let me hit the speak button. Good afternoon.
Heard you say good afternoon.
So that was perfect. And let me say something else. Good evening.
Heard you say doing.
That was wrong. Okay, let me continue with the demo. So along with this, you will also be able to add custom grammar to the speech command within your app. Uh, we can build a simple string array of string, and then pass it to the speech recognizer UI. Let's see how we can do this. I'm gonna build a string array and define user groups. I'm gonna define list of some of the user groups in Bangalore, which will be specified in the user group arrays now. Bangalore .NET user group, and then we have SQL Bangalore user group, Bangalore IT Pro user group, and then Bangalore PowerShell user group. So the next step would be to add it to the recognizer. Speech dot recognizer dot grammars dot add grammar from list. Then I specify the key saying that Microsoft user groups in Bangalore, and then I specify the list here. Okay, this so we are done now. So let's build the project, rebuild it again. Let me start the app. So app is getting deployed to the Windows Phone emulator. So let me hit the speak button. Bangalore.net user group.
Heard you say Bangalore.net user group.
Let me go ahead and then say another user group. SQL Bangalore user group.
Heard you say SQL Bangalore user group.
And how about Bangalore PowerShell user group? Bangalore PowerShell user group.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Oh, let me speak again. Bangalore PowerShell user group.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Okay, let's continue again with the another set of things demo. Let's move on to the PPT now. So the next component that we're going to see is the text to speech. In text to speech, you generally provide the text as an input, and the system will speak out the inputted text. Instead of me speaking much about the text to speech, let's uh, get to see them in the action now with some demo. So let me remove the code here that we did for speech to text, and I'll be including them in the same sample now. So to implement text to speech in your app, you need to instantiate the speech synthesizer object. Speech synthesizer. Let me create an object of speech synthesizer. And then I'll define the text that needs to be uh, sent for the device to speak. Will be welcome to Bangalore.net user group webinars. And then let me let the speech synthesizer to start speaking this text. Speak text async, and then I specify the input. So let me build the app and then run the app. Okay, so let me hit the speak button and see what the speech synthesizer speaks to us.
Welcome to Bangalore.net user group webinars.
We'll have it once more.
Welcome to Bangalore.net user group webinars.
So that was so simple to integrate the text to speech in your app. So now what we heard was a voice of a female. So how about a voice of a male, or how we can have a different language being spoken? So let's see how to do that. So what I do is I create or get the voice information and then set the voice information to the speech synthesizer. Say var data equal to voice in. We have something called installed voices, which contains a list of all the voices in your phone or in your emulator, whichever the one that you're currently using. Currently the emulator is being used, and I select everything from the emulator. So since all the voice is picked up, so I can put a criteria saying where voice dot gender equal to voice gender dot male, and then say select voice. So what this does is it picks from the installed voices, it picks the all the voices and filters them to the male. as a gender. So then we pick the first item from the voice. Then I need to set it to the speech synthesizer. Say set voice, I say data. So let me run this now. I hit the speak button.
Welcome to Bangalore.net user group webinars.
So now what you heard was a voice of a male, but the language that it picked was of German, because we always pick the first or a default. We'll also be able to put a where clause in your link query to pick the required language as well. For example, I use voice.language equal to en-us as one of the parameter. Let me run this now.
Welcome to Bangalore.net user group webinars.
So now you heard a different accent or a different language, right? So that was about how to set different voice for the speech synthesis.